Hi everyone and welcome to my channel Vinylistik. I hope you're doing well. This video will be very challenging for me because for the first time since the creation of this channel in 2009, I will try my best to speak in the Shakespeare language, yes, in English, for the first time. Since the creation of Vinylistik 12 years ago already, I always made videos in my native tongue, in French, obviously. But I wanted to make a video in English for ages, and I think this is the right video, because I will talk just about one artist, and an artist that I know quite well. I'm listening to David Bowie since I'm a kid, since I'm 10 or 11 years old. So it was 30 years ago. The first song I've heard from Bowie was Heroes, Let's Dance, China Girl, and I became a fan very quickly. And I must admit that in 2016 I cried 2 times because I lost my 2 biggest idols ever. Bowie passed away in January and Prince passed away in April. You imagine I lost my 2 biggest idols in 3-month gap, and I was, what's going on? That was terrible, you know. I was so sad. So I think the introduction is long enough. I will show you this great box set entitled Brilliant Adventure, released by Parlophone Records and ISO Records. Check this out.
Vinylistik. La chaîne qui retourne le YouTube game.
Alright, have a look on the box set. A huge box set, a very thick box set full of 18 records. Not 18 studio albums, but 18 records. Studio albums, live albums, a rarity compilation entitled Recall 5, 4 LP sets full of B-sides and rarities. It's amazing. And there is also a book. First of all, this box set was released Friday 29th of November, and unfortunately I was working that day, so that wasn't possible to buy it. But the next morning, 10 o'clock, I was in front of my record store. There was only 1 copy of this box set, only 1. A very expensive box set, unfortunately, you know, it's not for everybody. 375 euros, something like that. And that was in a green price. I know that in Germany that was more than 400. I mean, it's crazy. Yes, 18 records and a book, but it's really fucking expensive, you know. Let's be honest. You know, for those who don't know, 6 years ago they released the first box set from a whole series of 5. I think there would be 6 box sets in total. The first one was in 2015, so before Bowie passed away. And I made a video 6 years ago. If you want to see it, it's right here or right here. I think it's right here. The first box set was called 5 Years, 5 Hours of Music, and it's also the name of a song from the Ziggy Stardust album. And I made a video, but in French. But after that, they released a box set every year. Almost every year, a new box set full of 10, 12, 15 vinyl. But for the other box sets, I was patiently waiting, because every 6 months, you know, 6 months after the release of a box set, they release almost every vinyl inside alone, individually, you know, 6 months, 7 months. And for the box set 2, 3, and 4, I waited 6 months. I didn't buy the whole box set. But I bought this last one, Brilliant Adventure, because there is a lot of stuff that are exclusive on that box set. For example, Recall 5 with 4 LP sets full of rarities and B-sides. And also the live album BBC Radio Theatre, a triple vinyl set, are exclusive as well on the Brilliant Adventure box set. Okay, the first thing I want to show you is the book. More than 80 pages. Same cover as the box set. 1992-2001, so 9 years of music. A lot of great pages. I'm not going to show you, of course, all the pages, but it's a beautiful, beautiful books with interviews, a biography, a lot of adverts of each albums, unseen pictures, and beautiful pictures too. Some drawing, some notes handwritten by David Bowie, lyrics handwritten by the man himself. Okay, first vinyl I want to show you, the album Black Tie White Noise. I'm so happy to have this album because that was one of the only Bowie album I didn't have on my collection. In 1993, they released a few copies on vinyl, but this format was not as popular as it used to be. I remember to have bought the CD at that time. I never saw this vinyl on the record store, never. I think they did just a few copies at that time. I don't know how many. And they never reissued this album since then. For the first time in 2021. So I'm so happy, and the album is remastered just like all the other albums, by the way. That's not my favorite album from him, even for the 90s era. That's not my favorite. I much prefer Outside, Earthling, albums like that. But I love the song Jump They Say. That was the first single and the first video. Very futuristic, very cool video. I think it was a song about the death of his brother who had mental issues, who killed himself. My top 3 on this album is You've Been Around, Jump They Say, and Miracle Good Night. I love this picture. So, 2 printed insert sleeves in black and white. Nothing on the other side, double vinyl. All the vinyl are black on this box set. They say jump. A song also, there's a song the same name as the album with the singer Albie Shore. He was a very popular R&B New Jack singer from the 90s. And this album was produced by David Bowie and Nile Rodgers. I'm so happy to have this vinyl, finally.
He has no room, they say. He was born again, they say. Look at him climb, they say. Jump. They say, jump.
Next album I want to show you, released also in 1993, the Buddha of Suburbia. This is a very special album of Bowie. This is the soundtrack of not the music for a movie, but for a TV series of the same name, the Buddha of Suburbia, broadcasted on the BBC in the 90s. I don't have a lot of things to say about this because, to be honest with you, I never watched this TV series. You know, I'm not a big movie fan and not very curious by TV series. So the only thing that I can tell you is when I was a kid in '93, well, a pre-teenager, my father bought the CD of the Buddha of Suburbia. That was not the same cover. Bowie was not on the cover. That was a picture from the, maybe a screenshot or a picture from the TV series. And this one is an alternative cover. I think much better, to my opinion. And I don't know this album very well. One of the albums of Bowie I know the less. Of course, I heard it several times, but it's not the most exciting album from his discography. But there's a lot of great songs. The song Buddha of Suburbia is really good. There is 2 different versions. The last version is with Lenny Kravitz, but Kravitz is not singing, he's playing guitar on this second version. And the thing is really cool as well is you have the original version of the song Strangers When We Meet. Stranger When We Meet is one of the singles from the album Outside 2 years later in 1995. Full of Blood, Loving Life, black and white, insert sleeves, beautiful pictures of Bowie inside. And the thing is really cool, I noticed that yesterday. There is a list of all bands that Bowie heard and be inspired by while recording this album. Kraftwerk, Pink Floyd, Brian Eno, Pet Sounds, Noi, Roxy Music, T-Rex. I think every band and every artist should do that on their records, on their inside of the booklet. That would be very honest. Black vinyl, double black vinyl. I don't even know if the cover has something to do with the TV series, but I like it. Very simple picture. Next album I want to show you from that box set, Brilliant Adventure, Outside. My second favorite Bowie album from the 90s. What a fantastic album, very long album. I don't know how many tracks on here, but almost 20, 19 maybe. And great cover. It's a painting by David Bowie, of course. And Outside includes songs like The Heart's Filthy Lesson, one of my favorite songs from that album that a lot of people discovered with the movie Seven of David Fincher. You know, the movie with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. What's in the box? Alternative pictures. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, the Buddha of Suburbia was on vinyl for the first time. That's it. Alternative visuals. And the second version of Strangers When We Meet, a great video done by Samuel Bayer, I think. The visual is very close to the booklet of the CD. And there is a little booklet. A few years ago, you know, when Outside been released initially in 1995, no vinyl, just a CD and a tape. And Music on Vinyl a few years ago released Outside for the first time on vinyl. But the track list was not complete. that was excerpts from outside. There was maybe 70% of the track list of outside, just one vinyl. I don't know why, but that's what they did. But this one is the complete track list on double vinyl and 4 sides. The visual, I think they did that on Photoshop software. I'm sure about this. It looks a little bit, I don't know the name, I don't know the word, sorry, unfashioned, a little bit has-been, old school, I don't know. But that looks very much like a Photoshop visual. Hello Space Boy is also a great track. And my top 3, Heartfelt Lesson, Strangers When We Meet, and I'm Deranged. And I'm Deranged is also on the soundtrack of Lost Highway movie of David Lynch. I'm deranged in the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie as well.
The heartfelt lessons with her 100 miles to have.
If there was only something between us. If there was only.
Next vinyl I want to show you, the album Earthling, initially released in 1997. And just like Outside, a few years ago, Music on Vinyl released it, but just one vinyl. This Parlophone and ISO release is a double vinyl, but the 9 track from Earthling are on 3 sides. There is no music on the D side, and I will show you what is on the D side instead. It's a gatefold, just like the Music on Vinyl release. It's pretty close than the last vinyl release. Members of his band at that time, Reeves Gabrels, who produced a lot of Bowie albums. I love this artwork. This is the single of the first single, Little Wonder. And this is by far my favorite album of Bowie from the 90s. So like I said, released in 97. No track list on the back. And like I said, you know, on the my favorite tracks, from Earthling are Little Wonder, Dead Man Walking, and I'm Afraid of Americans. A lot of singles have been released. Telling Lies, 7 Years in Tibet, 5 singles in total. And like I said, on the D side, you have no music, but you have a beautiful cross. There you go. Pretty cool, huh? Yes, it is. And Earthling, just like Outside, when he was released in 97, just a CD and a tape, no vinyl. Next record I want to show you, the album Hours and 3 Dots, released initially in 1999. And like Earthling and Outside, when Hours been released at that time, no vinyl. Yeah, it seems that nobody was interested about vinyl, especially in rock music, pop music. You know, in the 90s, the mainstream was not buying vinyl anymore, but in the hip-hop community, in the techno scene, that was still very popular because there were still a lot of DJs. But it was not album. Most of the time it was 12-inch singles, and most of the time there was not even a picture sleeve, just a black die-cut sleeve with nothing on it, or just a sticker. That was still very popular, but outside of that, rock and pop album on vinyl, nobody didn't give a shit. Nobody cares. And music on vinyl, just like the two previous albums, they released it on vinyl. I was so happy to have Hours, once again another great album. And the music on vinyl release and the Parlophone release are very, very similar. Their glossy sleeve, the booklet inside is exactly the same. It's the same as the CD. Just one vinyl, just like music on vinyl. The only big difference is this release of Parlophone is a gatefold. And the visual of the gatefold, actually this is the visual of the single Survive. The picture disc 7-inch, they released, I think it was the second single from Hours. The second single was Survive, and they released a few quantity of 7-inch picture disc. I show you the booklet. Handwritten lyrics and beautiful pictures. The same booklet of the CD. And on this album, you have a very short instrumental track entitled Brilliant Adventure. Yes, just like the name of this box set. For each box set they released almost every year, the name of the box set was also the name of a Bowie song. 5 years, a new career in a new town, Brilliant Adventure. My top 3 is Thursday's Child, the first single, Survive, and The Pretty Things Are Going to Hell. I remember in '99 when I saw the track list on the internet, on the davidbowie.com, I thought that this song, Pretty Things Are Going to Hell, was a cover of Iggy Pop and the Stooges, but no, it's a totally different song. And this is my favorite track on Hours. And this is also a song for the soundtrack of Stigmata with Patricia Arquette. I love this track, but it's a different version on the film.
Now that I've really got a chance, everything's for.
Next record I want to show you is a live album, a triple vinyl set. BBC Radio Theatre, London, June 27th, 2000. This album was released in 2000, but not on vinyl. Just like most of the other records I showed you earlier. But this triple live LP set is exclusive to the Brilliant Adventure box set. In 6 months, this live album will not be sold alone individually. So, if you want to have this amazing live gig on the BBC, you have to buy the box set, unfortunately. Printed sleeves inside, a lot of words, a lot of credits, and pictures of Bowie from that gig. They have performed classics of Bowie and a couple songs from Hours, including Survive. Like I said, in 2000 they just released it on a CD format, but the CD that was not the complete show. This one is complete. 3 vinyl, almost 2 hours of music. The CD was much shorter.
I've got ears and eyes, but nothing in my life. But I'll survive your night. naked eyes, I'll survive.
Next record I want to show you, it's the album Toy from 2001. This is the first time that this album is released officially. For those who don't know the story of this album, so he recorded this album in 2001, and finally instead he released the album Heathen in 2002. I don't know exactly why he finally didn't decide to release this record. I love this album. Instead they replaced it by Heathen a year later. But every Bowie fans know this album for ages. Me personally, I downloaded the track list maybe 10 years ago, and I was so happy to have this never released album of Bowie. And there's a few songs he had re-recorded of very old songs from the 60s. I Dig Everything, Conversation Piece, Can't Help Thinking About Me, one of his very first 45. I can't help think about me. And I don't know exactly why he decided to record again all these old tracks from him. But we knew, even if I was not supposed at that time to know this album, several tracks was included on Maxi CD singles from Heathen. You know, the singles Slow Burn, Everyone Says Hi, included a lot of non-album tracks. And we didn't know at that time that it was coming from the Toy album. And songs like Shadow Man, You've Got a Habit of Living, Baby Loves That Way, we already knew these songs, and they have been released officially on these CD singles. Also, one thing about Toy, like I said, I've downloaded this album 10 years ago, but the track list was different. And also, there was more tracks than this release. There is only 12 songs on this double vinyl. I remember to have downloaded 14 or 15 tracks. And they have removed the following track: Lisa Jane, In the Heart of the Morning, and Uncle Floyd, which was the original version of Sleep Away. You know, the Sleep Away track is on Heathen, but it's a different version, okay? And I was a little bit disappointed when I realized that this song was missing from that release. And the thing is weird is all these 12 tracks are on 3 sides. On the D side, just like for Earthling, there is no music. There is a visual. We call that a headset vinyl. And they could put these 3 tracks on the D side, but no, instead they have removed these 3 tracks. And to my humble opinion, I think the reason they did that is because next month, in January 2022, they will release a whole box set of that album. 6 vinyl, 6 10 inches vinyl will be released next month of Toy. And most of the track list is alternative mixes, alternative versions of these songs. And there is Lisa Jane, In the Heart of the Morning, and and Sleep Away, I think, I'm not sure. You know, they will be on the box set. And I think that's the reason, you know, they want the fans buying this box set. Let's talk about the cover a second, okay? Because I think it's a very weird cover. I know that David Bowie did this visual, probably on the software Photoshop. You know, I recognize the pen tool, you know, on the bar in Photoshop. I recognize that. He put his face on the face of a baby, as you can see. It's a little bit bad taste, but it's funny. It's authentic because it's David Bowie did this, but I'm sure at 99% that he would never put this visual for an album, you know. It's impossible. No, I don't believe that. So 2 printed insert sleeves with beautiful pictures of Bowie from 2001. I don't know why he decided to, oh, it's raining outside. It's so dark outside. Sorry for the bad lights, but the clouds in the sky are as gray as my sofa. It's very dark. Yes, I don't know why Bowie decided to not release Toy at the last time. You know, if you know it, tell me in the comments. And my favorite track from that album is Your Turn to Drive. Beautiful, beautiful song.
Your turn to drive. Focus the night out of your mind. You'll need the time. We're speeding tired, watching the light.
Last vinyl I want to show you, Recall 5. This is a 4 vinyl set full of rarities, remixes, single versions, but most important, all the B-sides of all the albums I just show you on this video. All the B-sides from Hours, all the B-sides from Earthling, all the B-sides from Outside, and yeah, 4 LP sets. There is even tracks that I didn't know at all. For example, Pictures of Lily, Planet of Dreams, and beautiful song as well. So I'm very happy to have this record. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to buy this box set, because this 4 LP set is exclusive to Brilliant Adventure. Very simple visual in black and red label, and yes, very happy to have this.
Now here's some little something. I'm stuck them on my wall. And now my nights ain't quite so lonely. In fact, I don't feel bad.
Well, I think this video is over now. Like I said, you know, I tried my best to make a video in English. I hope that it will be not too bad. Vinylistik is a channel about vinyl records. Please subscribe, leave a comment, share this video if you think it's cool, and see you next time for a forthcoming video, a next video. Have a good weekend and Merry Christmas. Bye.